no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me. No matter where you are, no matter how far, don't worry, baby. Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Wow.
Good luck.
First of all, thank everybody for coming. Want to thank parents in Russia and mom.
Мамочка, Анечка, люблю вас, привет. It's my mom and sister on FaceTime.
So as you can tell, this small, rather unconventional wedding is perfect for an unconventional relationship that spans across the entire world. Nastya and I met in 2013 in the Olympic restaurant in Khabarovsk, Russia. Her having just returned from Seoul, South Korea from her studies, and I playing hockey in the wild frontier of the Russian Far East. Our relationship quickly grew from a friendship into a love story, but as life pushed us and pulled us in a million different directions, we succumbed to the obstacle of being born half a world apart and split up. But I think I'd be lying if I said over those next few years we both weren't always wondering what if. So then in 2013, or excuse me, last year in January, Nastya came to visit me, and I still remember the feeling I had when she got off the plane, just carrying only a book bag on her back. And I said, she was here for a week. I said, "Where's the rest of your luggage?" And she said, "What luggage?" And my heart melted instantly. So over the course of a wintry week in Massachusetts, I think we quickly realized that our hearts were still deeply intertwined. And over the course of the summer, we made the bold decision to start our lives together. So both nervous and excited, we accepted a contract to play hockey in Sweden. And we thought, what better place to be than halfway between America and halfway between Russia, with no friends, no commitments, no distractions, just me and her, and to learn about ourselves. And here we are, a year later, as happy and in love as we've ever been, excited to be married, excited to start a family, and excited to tackle anything that life throws at us together.
Thank you.
And now for our first esteemed speaker.
We invite Evan. Woo!
All right. Hello, everybody. Today is a celebration of love, of commitment, of friendship, of family, and of two people choosing to spend the rest of their lives together. Love is what we all share, our one universal truth. No matter who we are, where we've come from, what we believe, we know this one thing: love is what we're doing right. That's why my brother and my new sister are both standing here. That's why we all came here to watch them stand here today. We have all loved in our lifetimes. In this moment, we're reminded the ability to love is the very best part of humanity. Of all of us here today, we all have our own love stories. Some are short, others long, and some are not been written yet. There are chapters in all of our stories that are sad or disappointing, and others that are exciting and full of adventure. We're all here because we want those memories for you. We're here to hope with you, to support you, to be proud of you, and to remind you that love isn't happily ever after. Love is the experience of writing your own story. It's not one moment, not even this moment. It's every moment. The big ones like today and your engagement and starting a family, but more importantly, the million little moments that blend together to create one big experience of love. Thanks.
Thank you. Now inviting
Mom?
Mom.
It's been almost 4 years now that you two have known each other, from the first glance of acquaintance to this day of commitment. In January, you decided to marry, and you've been making informal commitments to each other ever since. All of those conversations that were held in a car, or over a meal, or during long walks, all those conversations that began with, "When we're married," and continued with, "I will," and "you will," and "we will." All those late night talks that included "someday" and "somehow" and "maybe," and all those promises that were unspoken matters of the heart. All those things are part of falling in love. Today, the symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, "You know all those things that we promised and hoped and dreamed? Well, I meant it all, every word." Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Because before this moment, you have been many things to each other: friend, companion, lover, dance partner, even teacher, for you have learned much from one another these past few years. But shortly you shall say a few words that will take you across another new threshold of life: marriage. And then things between you two will never be quite the same. For after today, you shall say to the world, "This is my husband. This is my wife."
My dear Dylan, Paul, Reese, love of my life. You're my best friend, my partner, my teacher. Sorry. I want to be your best friend. I want to make you honored. I want to have a great family. I promise that I will try to be the best wife as I can and make you happy every day. And you know, if anything, I'll push you.
My dear Anastasia Vladimirovna Homanskik, love of my life. I will honor you and be faithful to you, bring you happiness and joy, and care for you. You light up my life every day. I promise to grow with you in mind and spirit and be your shoulder to cry on when you need it most. I vow to be the best husband to you and father to our children that I can possibly be. After all, we're on the same page, my tsunami.
I take you.
I take
I
take you to be my other half, to have and to hold, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, for as long as we both shall live.
Da-da-da-dum-dum. It's coming!
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
I love you. Stand up, everybody. Yeah.
Only a I've been thinking about you, baby, more than desire. Bring it home, baby, gonna light your fire. Bring it home, baby, gonna light your fire. Bring it home, baby, gonna light your fire. All day I've been thinking about you, baby, more than desire. Gonna wrap my arms around you. Yeah, gonna wrap my arms around you. I wanna taste your lips, I wanna be your fantasy. Yeah, gonna wrap my arms around you. I wanna taste your lips, I wanna be your fantasy.
Nice butt.
Yeah, nice butt. Hey, babe.
Yeah, it was a great wedding.
Right, yeah. We had a good time. Right, gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Good one. Funny cut.
No, you smell like a bush. Right, Kayla?
Oh, because I got the.
My love, I have no idea what to do right now.
It's gonna be funny or not?
Not right.
It comes through almost every
Funny, now it's us. Now it's us.
doesn't always fall. So
Okay.
sometimes it's always
Don't know what I'd do without you, babe. Don't know where I'd be. You're not just another lover, no, you're everything to me. Every time I'm with you, baby, can't believe it's true. When you lay in my arms and you do the things you do. I don't know what I'd do without you, babe. Don't know where I'd be. You're not just another lover, no, you're everything to me. Every time I'm with you, baby, can't believe it's true. When you lay in my arms and you do the things you do. I don't know what I'd do without you, babe. Don't know where I'd be. You're not just another lover, no, you're everything to me.
I've told this story a million times, but I have to start off by telling you what my wife has always told my kids. Don't rush and get married. There's a lot of fish in the sea. Take your time. And I always bother me because I always wonder if she's that unhappy with me. You know, it's like she's like, take your time. You know. But we've waited a long time for Dylan. But I can say it was well worth the wait.
Yes.
And who would have thought that when Dylan went to Russia, that he would receive such an unexpected gift of unbelievable worth that would change his life forever? The gift of Anastasia Vladimirovna Kolnonsky. What a name. To be known from here on in, I guess, as Anastasia Vladimirovna Reese. Or Annie Reese. But the other way is much nicer. Much nicer. I love Russian names. You know, Annie, I think everybody here has felt your love, your warmth, your spunk, your intelligence, your contagious joy, and your sheer love of life that is a natural part of who you are. In fact, it's so refreshing, it's almost unbelievable. I remember joking with Dylan, she must be a Russian spy. She just must be a Russian spy. So it's easy to see that you're physically a beautiful girl. It's your internal beauty and a joy for life that shines for me the most. This is who you are, and that beauty is everlasting. Let me also add, just in case you all think that I went a little soft, that Annie is 5'9" and she has fast twitch muscles. So make sure we all understand that. And let me tell you a quick story that really endears me to Annie. We were in Sweden, and Dylan had just played a playoff game. He didn't play as many minutes as I would have liked, and Annie was going along with my feelings. And after that game, Dylan walked through the apartment door, and as soon as he walked through the apartment door, Annie said, "That's bullshit." I knew right then and there that was a girl I could love. I didn't even have to express my feelings. She did it for me. I remember when Dylan told me that he wanted to marry Annie, I asked him, "Are you sure?" And I remember his response, and it was as sure as I ever could be sure. I think that says a hell of a lot. And it speaks volumes, Annie, to what your parents and sister must be like for you to become the person you become. We are thankful and look forward to meeting your mother and seeing your sister again. And I only wish your parents and sister could be here with us to share this happy moment. They were the reason for this wonderful gift that has been given to the Reese family. So thank you. Dylan. This is kind of hard, but I always wondered what I was going to say when you got married, and what Marcy and I really sat down, your mother and I sat down and talked about, and it's actually really simple. Your mother and I love you and are so proud of you. You have so rarely let us down. We like to say that you're like your mother in one regard and like your father in the other, but the truth is, you are you, and you are special. I know that special is an easy word to throw around, but we say it without reservation and with full commitment. There are few people that gain respect so easily from others, and you're one of those people. And I can tell you, it wouldn't be me if I couldn't tell just a few stories here. It's like I have to tell a few stories. I mean, the one of the first stories that just always comes to mind that Dylan was about 7 years old. He was on roller skates, not even roller blades. And we used to go downstairs in our basement, and I guess I used to announce, we used to have the door that takes you out to the garage, and there's a big hole. And I used to go, "Number 2 from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Dylan Reese." And I turned on the Pittsburgh Penguin music, opened the door, and he'd go flying out and around the pole. And who would have known that 20 years later, whatever that was, he played 3 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Number 2?
He was you? No, I think 42 still. The other one that I still can't believe, it was his first hockey tryout. And he had 2 goldfish named Beavis and Butthead. And that day, both Beavis and Butthead happened to die. And we threw them away. Well, Dylan couldn't sleep. It was like 2 in the morning. He still couldn't sleep. He was crying and crying. I was trying to be real nice. Marcy said I was real nice, and finally I said, "Go to sleep!"
You know what, when I remember specifically in the laundry room ironing, and all of a sudden I hear Dylan and Barry talking, and Barry's real nice, and then all of a sudden I hear, "For Christ's sake, will you go to sleep? You have clouds tomorrow."
Anyways, to make a long story short, the only way to go to sleep is I had to go into the garbage can, get Beavis and Butthead, and do him a proper burial. I went down and got some garbage, went out, and he was fine after that. The other one I can remember, which I like telling, he was about 9, 10. I get a voicemail. "I'm here with Grant. You know, Grant's father is Jewish and his mother's not, and you're Jewish and my mother's not, and he doesn't have to go to Hebrew school. Listen, if not having to go to Hebrew school is to be Catholic, I'm Catholic." That's a true story. I'll definitely know for a long time. Okay, that's good. The other 2 stories I'll do real quick. One of the obviously great stories. He took me on his Islanders father-son trip, which was quite a major thing. But I can tell you this year in Sweden, these are all around hockey, but it's not all around hockey. It just seems to be that way. I should tell other ones. But anyways, this year we went to Sweden, and it was so nice because not only did he win a championship, because if he wouldn't have won in overtime in the last game, the whole thing would have been crummy. but that one stinking goal in overtime made everything different. And the nicest thing is he included me in everything, which was nice, which I appreciate. Mom and I, now get a little more serious. Mom and I couldn't be more proud of the man you've become. We actually sat down and talked about words that came to mind when we think of you. And the first word is humble. Strong character is the second word. Clear thinker, non-judgmental, mentally tough, and a strong, silent, can-do attitude. I really can't remember ever a story that Dylan just told where he was the center of the story. And I tell 5 a day where I am. It's unbelievable. I can't even remember Dylan saying something bad about anybody. It's like if I start, he gets pissed. He hates gossip, he hates you telling, he thinks the best of basically everybody. The other thing that's incredible is he rarely feels sorry for himself or makes excuses. He takes what's given to him and he battles back, and silently and relentlessly without fuss if something happens. He doesn't have self-pity. I kind of, you know I come back to hockey. It's the easiest thing if that's what you do a lot with your life. I kind of, when you really think about it, last year I remember coming to Dylan, this kind of says everything, and I said to him, with a couple breaks, you could have had a hell of an NHL career. And he said to me, the truth is there's a hell of a lot of kids out there that are better than me that never even had one game. And that said a lot for me. The other thing that stands out for us is how you carry yourself. Being an athlete, you get pampered and you get tons of adulation, and it's really hard not to get full of yourself and thinking you're a big shot. But that's just not you. I've never seen you act like you're better than anybody, and I think you get it. In reality, it's not the achievements that make Mom and I so proud. It's how you've handled the setbacks. You put things in perspective. You don't like feel bad for yourself. I mean, again, in hockey, you start out coming out in Harvard, you get an AHL agreement. You go from there, you're basically going to be cut in your third year, you get a tryout. You have bad backs, you have this. You never complain. Well, you complain a little bit. Very little.
On my back.
About your back. but other than that, you just basically just carry on. And whatever happens, happens. You don't make excuses. You and Annie are a match made in heaven. You balance each other so well, but more importantly, the two of you have the same values and a mutual respect that is obvious. I feel certain when times get tough, or when things are good for one and not for the other, and you experience just the normal, everyday stresses that come from marriage, that you will both support and comfort each other, and your lives will be stronger together than apart. So raise a glass into life, to my new daughter, and to my eldest son.
Cheers.
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 I knew I would talk a long time. You couldn't stop me. Look how I am. All right.
I like the story.
Thanks, Dad.
Great storyteller. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, let's say a few words too. Still. Annie, why don't you just take my drink if you want to take? All right. It's gonna sound like I copied my dad almost a little bit.
He had nothing to do with
And
it.
I didn't talk to my dad at all, but I just want to give
That
you
was
guys.
a smart thing.
I want to give you guys. Actually, I talked to my Uncle Ralph before this. He gave me some notes. We changed my dad's around. It's better now. When I would go to my Uncle Ralph to clean it up a little bit. But I just want to tell Dylan and let you guys know what it's like kind of growing up a little bit as Dylan's little brother, and just a few examples that are kind of aligned with what my dad said about him that really special and make him the special person that he is. And when I always joke around with my friends, I tell my brother's all worldly. That's what I tell them as a joke, my good friends. And these are kind of the reasons, some of the examples and things growing up. And also kind of the twisted things that the funnier things that Dylan taught me in life that I want to bring up. So, as you can imagine, we grew up playing sports together. We were little kids, building forts, going to the cottage, fishing. I'm not going to spend too much time on this stuff. Playing video games. And Dylan always beat me in everything, but I beat him in video games once.
You did?
That's it. I was better than him in video games. I beat him there. I remember we were
Not once, maybe all the
And
time.
then I beat him in NHL when we were older. We played that video game.
He used to make video games all the time.
So,
It's so
by the time he was also really good at sports, and I played sports because of Dylan, right? And I hung out with Grant because of Dylan. I'm just kidding. But there's a lot of things that he did, and as a little brother, I just kind of gravitated towards, and I wanted to do as well. But by the time we got to middle school, that's when I started to notice little things. That's when I started thinking about girls a little bit and guys. And I got to middle school, and the first way he affected me in my social life was there was this beautiful girl in my 5th grade class. Her name was Emily Morrow, and I came to class and I said hi to her, and she was all red in the face and ran away. Well, it turns out her older sister was in love with Dylan, so Emily was in love with me. And that was the first day I realized my brother was definitely pretty cool. I was really happy with it. So that was in 5th grade. So, then we move into high school. We were into my high school. I was a freshman and Dylan was a senior. And I don't know if you guys know this, but we were only 3 years apart, but he was physically much more mature than me. When he was in 8th grade and I was in 5th grade, I looked like, a toddler, and he was pit hair and 6 foot tall. I mean, by the time we were a senior and freshman, it was pretty similar to that as well. I was just a little kid, he looked like I barely I was a nervous little guy. My brother was 6 foot, the same way he is now, the same size he is today. So, you know, I had a great time in high school, and I, you know, got involved with all the gossip with some of the kids in sophomore, a grade above me, 2 grades above me. My brother was a senior. But the first thing that I really noticed about Dylan that was really special was exactly what my dad said. I would come to him telling him how fed up I was with these older kids picking on me, and we were, you know, buddies and pals, and I would say they're a-holes and I can't stand them. And my brother would never say a bad word about anybody. And he translated, even the biggest bullies in the school that, you know, I was friends with and picked on me, they had nothing to say but good things about my older brother. And that was one of the moments that I knew there was something special about him, and I couldn't believe it. He never said a bad word about anybody. You know, once we got to college, well, one other thing he did teach me in high school, kind of the opposite direction. One thing he teach me was, that every time mom and dad come home, definitely have people over. And then Grant, I went to Grant, I got caught once, and I went to Grant, I said, Grant, I had people over. Dylan, he told me that people over, he said it was a good idea. What do I do? And Grant said, there's only one rule ever, you can't get caught. That's it. So that's what Grant said. He said, whatever you do, Dylan, they forgot to tie the knot about the whole thing, about how you have to be smart about it, but, you know, they kind of forgot, those little minute details they forgot to teach me. You know, by the time he got to Harvard, you know, he was pretty accomplished at that point. He went to Harvard. He even played hockey. He was one of the best of the team, and ended up being the captain of Harvard hockey. You know, as a role model, it was easy to look up to him because he was always extremely humble. You know, I went to visit him, and at Harvard, I know sports aren't the biggest things, but you know, if there was 2 sports at Harvard that were big, it was hockey and football. And I'll tell you, my brother never once bragged to me or any of my friends who he knew, and even his friends up there. I could just feel that he was always humble, and it meant a lot to me. You know, we'd go out to bars, and even though if there was one person that could have been, you know, a little bit cocky or up there, it could have been Dylan, but he never did once. And that was one of those moments I looked at him as a role model to me. It was really special. You know, at that same time, me and Dylan got pretty close during those summers. And I'd say summers 06 to 08, probably a good month we'd always spend together at our house just hanging out. And usually it was me, Grant, one of my good friends, and Dylan. And we'd play video games together, play sports together, and some of the best times of probably my summer life we had those. Playing video games especially. We had some pretty good battles there.
Still undefeated.
Yeah, so
Still undefeated.
he also taught me during those years to join a finals club or a frat. You learn a lot of great things like how to play beer pong and hang out with girls. And he also taught me never to major in economics. That was the other thing. He told me, and he just looked very stressed out. It didn't seem like a good thing for me. So, you know, moving into our adult years, I'm almost done here. But you know, after he graduated school and kind of I graduated, I think we spent some more time together in different places. I went to visit Dylan, my brother, in LA, and you know, we had more time in Pittsburgh together. We were in Boston a few times, went up to Erie a few times. But taught me a couple more important things. That Las Vegas was the greatest place in the world. And he also taught me that over the last 5 years before that, the South Side was the best place in Pittsburgh. So I ended up living there. But with all that being said, humble, you know, never speaking a bad word about anybody. It's just, you know, a great role model to grow up with. He was really special to me. I'm forgetting one of my other virtues, but I'm kind of blanking out. But, you know, it was that moment where he met Annie that it kind of pulled everything together, and I knew there was somebody special in his life because she was special too. And she came to Pittsburgh, and we spent some time together, and then I went out to Sweden. And it was obvious the moment I met her that she was a special person too. And if you ask all my friends in Pittsburgh, she's the most popular person in Pittsburgh. Everybody knows her. You know, the funniest thing is my buddy was sitting in Mario's one day, as I told my mom and dad this, I don't know if I told you. James Morasti, my good friend, was sitting in Mario's one afternoon, and the window was open, and he looks on the street, and he sees some beautiful girl in all white walking down the street with 2 older people. And he said he's sitting there to himself thinking, who the heck is that? And he's looking at it. Later that night, he found out that was Annie, your girlfriend from Russia. He said it came all together. He said he couldn't figure out who this girl was walking the streets of Southside with my mom and dad. So anyway, I just want to say we're happy to have you in the family. Thank you for meeting him in Russia. thank you for giving him the chance and coming over to the United States, because we're happy to keep you here. So, toast to you guys.
I'd say there's only one thing she could do, take Evan to Russia.
We've
We're
been
already
to
talking
that.
about that. Good job.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Alicia Lewis, Grant's wife and a friend of Dylan and Nastia, aka Annie. First of all, wow, you both look great, but Annie, you look stunning. He's just hanging out. It's truly an honor to be here with all of you celebrating the marriage of these two lovebirds. Dylan, Nastia, I'd like to thank you both so much for inviting us to be a part of your special day. As one of your only friends here, we really feel so honored to have made the list. And I want to take a minute to thank you both personally for the ample amount of time, 3 weeks, you gave us to book flights, hotels, request time off work, find a dress, find shoes, get in shape, oh, and write a speech. But I get it. When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. Love is an amazing journey, and Dylan and Annie, your forever starts today. Congratulations. Dylan. Oh boy. This is the part where I would say, I'm glad to see you have your teeth in today.
Oh, but he doesn't.
But I happened to check that out and they're not in right now. First of all, Dylan, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a great friend, a best friend, a lifelong friend to my husband. I truly admire the bond you two share, and it's a rarity and a blessing to have friends like you in life, and for that I'm thankful. I also want to thank you for being a good friend to me over the last 6 years. From the first time I met you in Hilton Head and called you the perfect man, I'm sorry, to living with you and Grant in LA for a couple summers, working tirelessly in the kitchen to make sure you and Grant were happy and satisfied at mealtime. Now, this wasn't always an easy task. For breakfast, Dylan wanted scrambled eggs, no cheese, while Grant preferred his eggs over medium with cheese. When snack time rolled around, I had to be sure that Dylan got crunchy peanut butter with red delicious apples, while Grant preferred creamy peanut butter with green Granny Smith apples. Oh, and at dinner time, I was often instructed to take it easy on the butter, cheese, and salt. Guys, I grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. These are the 3 main ingredients in every meal. Moving on. From LA to Pittsburgh, there were countless other memorable trips, but there's one trip that holds a special place in my heart, and that's when we all found ourselves together in a land called Sweden. This is where we finally got to know our sweet Annie. And Dylan, I couldn't be happier for you that you had finally met the one. It was obvious then, and still is today, that you are perfect for each other. Annie. Sorry. I know there are some very special people in your life that can't be here today. So I wanted to do my best to make sure you felt a sense of home here on your wedding day. Thanks to Dylan, I was able to contact your sister in Russia, and here's a message she wanted me to share with you both today. I'm sorry if the translation's a little off. I only had 3 weeks to learn Russian. Annie's sister Anya writes, I will not tell you stories of our childhood. I do not want my child to cry much at the wedding. But I want her to know she is my treasure and Dylan is our family. Our house is their house and we love them very much. Loving can be much at times, but we must learn to listen, hear, and respect each other. I see their happiness and I am happy with them. Let every day be a smile of Anya. Thank you so much. Annie, aka Nastia. Your personality and caring spirit are contagious. It's impossible not to smile when you're in the room.
I'm filling in.
I promise I'd be your crying shoulder forever.
Ruined my mouth.
Like I said, it's impossible not to smile when you're in the room. You have the precious ability to bring sunshine into anyone's day. And for that, Dylan truly is a lucky man. I want to wish you both a lifetime of love and happiness, full of family, and surrounded with great friends. I love you both. Congratulations. Thank you. Skål. Nazdovia. Cheers. Try not to cry. I'm a crier. Love you guys.
Smart, athletic, humble, funny, attractive. Annie, you've got it all. Seriously, man. I couldn't be more impressed with everything. No, Dylan, you of course have all these things as well. Dylan, you've accomplished so much in your life already, and hopefully you play hockey for another 10 years. But if you don't, I think you'll always have a backup career as a wedding planner. I called Dylan a few days ago and asked him a couple questions like, what should I wear, when I should be there, did Evan get invited? No, it was a tight list. And he tells me, he's like, quit stressing me out here. I was like, buddy, you're getting off easy. You don't know what I went through. But, you know, it worked out, and it always does. I was here on time. I'm in a suit. Evan was here. Everything is perfect. But today is a really special day for me. I get to watch Dylan get married. Whether you guys know this or not, Dylan has actually told me many times he was looking forward to getting married and having a family. And if I know anything about Dylan, it's that he gets everything he wants. And it's not because he whines or it's given to him, it's because he goes out and he puts in the time and he gets it. Like playing in NHL. Last night I looked up the odds on kids making the NHL and it was 1 in 13 million. Then I added in having a crazy father who makes you shoot 1,000 pucks every day. The odds went to 1 in 6 million. Adding a crazy father who makes you read mental toughness books, that increases the odds to 1 in 2 million. Then adding in a crazy dad who builds a hockey rink in the backyard, the odds are 1 in 3. Dylan, you beat the odds and we're very proud of you. So Dylan and I first met when we were 4 to 5 years old in a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese. We grew up playing hockey together. We went to the same school. Both went on to Ivy League schools, were drafted in the NHL, and then played 9 to 10 years professionally while living all over the world. While we have done a lot of the same things together, the truth is Dylan was leading the way the whole time. Dylan started skating, I started skating. Dylan started playing hockey, I started playing hockey. Dylan started liking girls, I started liking girls. Dylan dyed his hair white in 7th grade. I never dyed my hair. Even then, you taught me a valuable lesson. Not to let you lead the way in the world of fashion. I think once Mrs. Reese stopped dressing Dylan, it was all downhill from there. I don't know where Dylan got his fashion sense, but all I know is that it wasn't from Mrs. Reese's side of the family. Speaking of Mr. Reese, Dylan lost his hair in 7th grade. I luckily did not go through that either. But anyway, so obviously I have many stories, and you know, our dad's up all night freezing the ice rink for us growing up. I mean, up till 4 in the morning, freezing this ice surface just so we could wake up in the morning and skate. Our moms back in when we used to do this, chew tobacco, our moms found chewing tobacco in our bag and actually put it in their mouth and said, "You see how ugly this looks?" They had too much wine at that time.
Did both of them put it in?
Both of them.
Oh.
Barb, 20 years of ice skating lessons, kicking us on and off the ice, separating us constantly. I mean, so many great memories. I mean, the stories are endless. But the best is when we were 17, 18 years old. Our parents started sending us out to LA every summer to train for hockey. And this wasn't like summer camp in LA. This was like you have to show up 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, and the rest of the time is yours. So we really had a lot of time to, it's CLA. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that every parenting book in the world would have advised against this. But Dylan and I knew when it came to hockey, there was nothing we couldn't get our dads to say yes to. It was, "Dad, can I get a new hockey stick?" "Yes, you can." "Dad, can we get a rink in the backyard?" "Yeah, no problem." "Dad, can we go to LA in the summer and train for hockey?" "Sounds like a great idea. Here's my credit card and some spending cash. We'll see you in a few months." But honestly, we weren't spoiled. It's not like that. Like, we were very humble kids. So, Mr. Reese told me a story a few months ago, and I had to laugh.
You guys used to tell us, "Oh, we're so tired after those 2 hours. We sleep all day. They worked us so hard."
I know, it was,
You bought
it. Literally, you bought it. Anyway, so Mr. Reese told me this story, and Mrs. Reese, a few months ago, that Dylan was, he was taking on many extravagant vacations when they were kids. I think they went to Paris, they went to a dude ranch in out west, and they rode horses all over the place. But Dylan was about 13 now. Mr. and Mrs. Reese took him to Vegas. They're leaving the hotel shortly after they arrive to walk around the strip, and they're going up an escalator. And Dylan can barely see over the sides of the escalator. And just right up the escalator, almost like a runway, there was a billboard with 4 half-naked women. They may have even been Russian. I don't know. Anyway, Dylan, 13-year-old Dylan, completely covered in freckles, looks up, sees the sign. His eyes light up like a Christmas tree, and he says, "Now this is what I call a vacation." This story is especially funny because 4 or 5 years later, Dylan and I are sent out to LA to start training. Our parents check us in, check our bags, and we're off. Sure enough, we have a layover in Vegas. We're at the Vegas airport. We're waiting to board for LA, and Dylan looks at me and says, "We don't start training till Monday. It's Friday. Should we stay for a night?" And you can imagine my response. Absolutely not. Like, our parents didn't we can't, all that good stuff. But Dylan walks up to the ticket counter. I see them talking, then I see him walking back to me with probably the same smile he had back when he was 13 when he was in Vegas. And I look at him, I'm just like, "No." And he's like, "Yep, we're staying." I said, "What about the bags?" And he said, "They're going to LA." So nothing but Walkmans, our new fake IDs that we just got before we left, our parents' credit cards, and a little spending cash just in case we needed it along the way. We get out to the taxi line, and sure enough, it's about an hour long, it looks like. And the guy approaches us, he's like, $100 for a limo. I don't even get the chance to say anything. I look at him and he says, "We'll take it." Very Reese credit card. And this is only the beginning. We didn't even have clothes. We went to the mall. Fully dressed, head to toe, and then we planned times to call our parents, tell them we arrived safely. This is when we started calling it burying the bill. It's when the bill came, and we would put Mr. Reese's credit card, and we would bury it.
Hey, I gave you a credit card.
This has happened, no longer than a year ago as well. As you can believe that.
Yeah. So get the money back.
Yeah.
Oh, Evan's taking notes. I was like, "I'm going to bury the bill tomorrow."
I took notes years ago.
So,
This was supposed to be in my
anyway,
speech, actually. I forgot.
so let me just say, Dylan, I don't want to ever downgrade anything you are or anything you've ever done or accomplished, because you went to Harvard, you were drafted by the New York Rangers, you played in the NHL, and you even got to play here in Pittsburgh for our hometown team. There's nothing normal or average about any of this. These are all incredible accomplishments individually, let alone all together. Just being by your side, I've learned so much from you. From respect and leadership qualities to how to play hockey, how to face adversity, what it means to work hard, how to clog and unclog a toilet. You've taught me so much. But honestly, it's your everyday friendship that I love. It's your ability to always make me laugh. It's the feeling I get when your name pops up on my phone. And I know no matter what, wherever we are in the world, how good or bad my day is going, that for the next 1 to 3 hours, I'm heading right back to the ball pit in Chuck E. Cheese. It's these everyday moments that I cherish. While I grew up in a house with 2 sisters, I was also lucky enough to grow up with 2 brothers in Evan and Dylan. And I just want to let you both know that I love you guys so, so much. Okay? Annie, I still remember the first day Dylan FaceTimed me and told me about you. He had this little smirk on his face and he tells me, I think I'm going to marry this girl. I didn't even laugh because I knew he was serious. Annie, you are intelligent, beautiful, smart, and funny. You have an ability to always find positivity and beauty in every situation. You take chances, you have fun, you dance, you live for the moment, and most importantly, you're not afraid. With love, you continue to rebel against the darkness that sometimes seems to be taking over this world. And I love that. Please continue to share your amazing perspective with both Dylan and all of us. Lastly, if we could all raise our glasses. Dylan and Annie, we are here to celebrate with you, but you two are really the only ones who know what tonight really costs, the price you had to pay to be sitting here next to each other tonight. The mountains you have climbed, the obstacles you have had to overcome, and the sacrifices you have both made to be sitting here tonight is really incredible. I don't believe life is about choosing a path, it's about creating a path, and that's exactly what you guys are doing. I hope that you continue creating a beautiful journey together, and you guys should have comfort in knowing that no matter which path you choose to create, as long as you have each other, you'll always be heading in the right direction. Cheers, I love you both very much, and you're the best.
You're the best. Cheers. That sounds good there.
Oh, wait, can you guys do that one more time?
I want my Mary card back. I want that Mary card back.
Right now, officially, my husband. I love you so much, babe. And this is, we did all together. So you better right now sit, enjoy it, with AC, with a drink in your right hand, with a ring in your left hand, and just, we all love you so much. You gotta feel it right now. Enjoy it.